This is Anime Blitz, and man, we've missed you all. Put on your headphones and get in the zone. Cause what's coming next is gonna blow your mind. It all starts with our guy, Shiki, as he grabs his own blood and turns it into a freaking machine gun. You won't find a better weapon anywhere. No joke, he shoots a terrifying projectile at the giant, and just like that, boom, the monster hits the floor, and the whole crew is finally safe. Jin's jaw drops, and he thinks to himself, what a beast! He didn't just take down the giant, he changed the weather too. Meanwhile, Byogura, on the other hand, passes out from blood loss and hits the deck. Shiki asks if she's okay, but Nato looks at him and says, dude, she's barely got enough blood left for a cup of lemon tea. All of a sudden, Shiki stumbles and collapses from exhaustion. Nato asks him, are you really gonna be stubborn about this? He insists, nah, I'm totally fine. But then, bam, he collapses again like a sack of bricks. But then, this poor guy Shiki looks at Nato and says, I'm begging you, Nato, please take care of her first. Nato looks at him and says, bro, you're on death's door right now, and you want me to help someone else? Then, out of nowhere, Jin lunges at Nato and shouts, stop wasting your time with these weak fools. Nato tells him, come on, let's work together to help these poor kids. Jin refuses, saying, that's not my problem, man. Leave them be. And he keeps attacking. Nato expertly blocks all of Jin's blows with his magical umbrella. He just laughs and tells him, you like fighting up close? All right, I'll give you a show. Pew pew pew. He shoots him with a bunch of rubber bullets. Nato tells him, they're just rubber bullets, but they're gonna give you a harsh lesson you'll never forget. Jin gets mad, changes his strategy, and shoots Nato with his dual blood spray dance arrows. But Nato is a tactical genius and doesn't even flinch. Nato then throws a smoke bomb, disappears in a flash, and appears behind Jin. He starts wailing on him, landing blow after blow until Jin gets knocked silly and hits the deck. Nato then sits next to him and says, you gotta learn a lot, man. You've got more holes than Swiss cheese. If you want to be strong, you gotta fix them. Jin tries to stand up, but fails and falls back down. Nato tells him, dude, you need to properly evaluate your opponent. If this were a real fight, you'd be dead because of how reckless you are. Then, out of nowhere, Nato drops a bomb, saying, I know your truth. You want to see your dad, right? Your dad is one of the Momotaro. Jin and Shiki are shocked. Jin yells back, yes, my dad is a Momotaro, and he's the one who gave me all these scars. He's the one who killed my whole family, and I was the only one who escaped and had to eat out of dumpsters just to survive. That's why Jin isn't afraid of death. He attacks Nato again, but Nato knocks him down and tells him, you're wrong. Don't die for your goal, man. Live for it. If you don't understand that, you have no future. Nato then calls for an ambulance and ties Jin up with ropes. He looks at Shiki and says, now it's just you. I have the ball. If you want it, come get it. Shiki gets angry, leaves Nato behind, and runs off to find a ball. And just like that, Nato chases after him to make sure he doesn't get it. Jin tries to break free from the ropes, and suddenly, Shiki shows up and says, I'll help you break free from these ropes. Jin looks at him arrogantly and says, I will not accept help from someone as weak as you. Shiki gives him a harsh lesson, asking him, dude, what's more important right now? Your pride or your goal? I hate guys like you, but we have the same goal because my dad was also a Momotaro. Help me achieve our goal. Jin agrees, but tells Shiki, listen up, we're not working together. You're working for me. And Shiki agrees because his goal is more important. And out of nowhere, Jin leaps from a tree like a ninja monkey and takes down Nato. They tie up Nato with ropes, and Shiki finally gets the ball. Shiki tells Jin, grab the ball and run to the finish line. Nato looks at him and says, "You idiot! The person who reaches the finish line first is the one who wins." Shiki is shocked and says, "Oh my god, I totally forgot that." And Nato says, "Your stupidity ruined the whole plan." Jean runs as fast as he can to the finish line to win the race. But suddenly he stops and runs back to Shiki, telling him, "I don't want to owe you twice. I'd rather get kicked out and continue on my own. You take the ball and go instead." Just then, a small pig appears. His name is Moku with a delivery service called Boko Express, and he delivers news faster than lightning. A distress signal arrives from the Kyoto branch of the organization, saying that the Momotaro are attacking them and they need immediate backup. Everything's gone haywire over there. Nato gathers the students and says, "Listen up, everyone. We're not going there to fight. We're only there for support. No one is going on the battlefield. Your levels are too low, and I don't want any of you to die." The girl asks, "Why did we change our clothes?" Nato tells her, "You dummy, our uniforms are as obvious as a billboard. We have to look like normal students so the police don't get suspicious." Nato starts to explain the mission, saying, "Listen up. Every country has an organization called the Oni, and they have two squads. The first one fights the Momotaro, and the second one provides support by solving the daily problems of the Oni living among humans. We're going to help the second squad." Shiki gets angry and thinks to himself, "This was my chance to fight and get my revenge." But Nato looks at him and says, "Shiki, the guy you're looking for isn't in Kyoto, but there's someone way worse waiting for you." That's it for this part of the series, my friend. Stay tuned for the next one, because the fun is just getting started.